again.
You trying to get everybody drunk, huh?
It's working.
Yo, I bridge the gap for him. I bridge the gap for him. Hands up if you know you bridge the gap for him. I bridge the gap for him. I bridge the gap for him. Hands up if you know I bridge the gap for him.
How you doing, everyone? I'm here with the love of my life, my wife. Please introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Takilla Brereton.
Where you from?
Born Takilla.
Where you from?
I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore. Baltimore's a wild city.
It is a wild city.
Tell me a little bit about growing up in Baltimore.
I mean, it was fun. I was a kid. I was able to be a kid and do kid things. So to me, it was great. It wasn't really, I didn't really feel like I had a bad time. I had a great time. So
what was your first feeling that really let you know, like, Baltimore is real? It's a little different than other cities.
I didn't feel it until I got older. Like, when I got, I guess in my teen years, I felt it a little bit more because I got out more and was able to see what was going on and things of that sort. But, yeah. But by that time, I had moved to a different part of the city, so it was a little bit better, but not much.
You're a little more prissy than other. I don't want to stereotype anything, but you're a little more prissier than, And because you hood. A lot of people don't know you. People don't know you hood.
I'm from inner city, Baltimore, but.
What high school you went to?
I went to Dunbar High School. Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School.
That's kind of like a famous high school that you went to, though.
I'm a poet. All the way.
It's crazy that I'm a poet, too. Somewhat. But yeah, Dunbar is known for football, big sports and everything. Okay, so what I really want to talk to you about is pre-me. Before you met me, what was your situation?
Before you, I was married. I had 2 kids.
How long was you married?
9 years.
Oh, you was married 9 years. And you had 2 kids?
2 children.
Okay. So, what was the thing that it's kind of hard interviewing your wife when you know some of the answers, but what can you say? Like, we going pre-me? By the 9th year, right? You've been married for 9 years. When did you start getting an indication that maybe this is not for me?
I'll say about my 7th year. Our 7-year marriage. It was hitting me then. And it just took a while for me to realize what I needed to do for myself and my children.
What changed?
We just grew apart. It was a lot of things that a lot of it was more of me being self-conscious of myself and, not having the confidence that I felt like that I should have had, and I didn't have I had the resources, but I really didn't utilize them, so I was more into myself. I didn't really want people to know what was going on with me. So, a lot of that was, I put on myself and, and having a husband that, he was a great guy, but it just came to a point that we weren't compatible together. We had great times and, it just got to the point that we just wasn't good for each other.
Okay, because even the separation part, a lot of people would kind of like frown upon the idea that the woman leave the children with the guy. What would you say about that?
Let me say this. I always had this thing when I was younger, even before kids, and probably after my daughter still was, and it may not be funny to anybody else, but it was always funny to me that it's because of much of it that went around with my family, a lot of guys in my family weren't there. It was a lot of women in my family. So I was always like, if I ever got married, got a divorce, I would leave and leave him with the kids. Just so happened, it just happened to end up that way. But the reason that I left my children, because my children were better with their father than they were with me. So I had to take myself out of the picture and do what was best for my children. And it wasn't, for me and for them, it wasn't great for the age for them to uproot them somewhere else. When they had a house, they had their own rooms, they had their own space, they knew their own thing, to move them to a one-bedroom, no room, and all that good stuff, when I needed time to get myself together.
So what was your biggest struggle with that?
I mean, it wasn't more of me leaving my children. I think it was more of what people were saying for me. Like, that hurt a little bit more because everybody knows I'm all about my children and I'm all about family. So they knew that about me, but they still felt like I should have stayed in the situation that I was in, when I had to realize for myself that just wasn't good for me. I listened to people a long time. That's why it took so long for me to get out of my marriage. And I had to just sit back and think about what was best for me and what was best for my children. So it was rough to leave them, but the grace of God, I didn't go far. So I was literally across the street from my children. So like, I can see their school bus, right. When they got on the school bus, I can take them to their school bus. I can see them every day. So it wasn't like I moved far. I thank the Lord for that. It was still hard not tucking them in bed at night and things of that sort, but it was better for them.
So let's go take me to my next question. So you believe by y'all actually being apart, it made it better for the kids?
It did, because we argued a lot. It got to the point where we were fussing, at the point where when Daya got to the point where she was covering her ears. So at that point, when I saw that, I knew that it was time to let it go. And we had to of course, go through to sit down with letting them know it wasn't them. It was just something that we had to do. And it made it better. And it helped me to grow into myself, and it helped him to grow as being a father. So.
Okay. Because a lot of people would say, I pretty much came in, you wasn't divorced yet. I came in during the separation. A lot of people would say that I played a part in it. What would you say about that?
I think it's more of how I carried myself, that nobody knew where I was or where my marriage was. So they looking outside, looking in, it may seem that way. But from the inside looking out, it was nowhere near that. My marriage was over 3 years before I got divorced. And in 2 years prior to me, I had to get out first. And then when I was out, I wanted to step, we tried to do the dating thing for like a half a second, but it just didn't work. So you just kind of came along at that period where everybody thought, because when he came along, everybody knew we were together. We got married, everybody was like, what? You're getting married? And when we got divorced, it was the same thing. What? So it was, I kind of kept my private life. Nobody knew what was going on except maybe my mom and, my best friend. But other than that, everybody thought everything was hunky-dory dandy. I was living in the big house with the fence and the children and the cars. And at times that just wasn't the case. And when I left, it was the last resort, and I had to get out. And so you just happened to come along at that period of time where I was completely done, and honestly didn't think I was gonna, even think about another guy for a minute. But the Lord had different plans.
Yeah, He shook him up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't understand, because I knew what you was feeling.
Yeah.
You know, but I also knew the chatter come from the outside without even hearing about it. So I wanted to make sure that, you know what, you don't open one door until you close the next.
Right. And
So
that's
what?
why you told me to go back and make sure that I was really ready to shut that door. So you told me to go and say, babe, are you sure that's what you want to do? And, you know, my decision was already made before you even told me that or asked me that or anything. But, you know, I did, you know, make sure that that's the door that I wanted to completely close. And it was.
Right. I'm glad that's understanding, because like I said, even by me even talking to you, you know, it's actually giving me more understanding also. You know, that's how you know it's not about us. It's really about y'all that's actually paying attention. This is God using us. We freestyling this. So all right. Now I come along. And you said something that almost scared the crap out of me. Almost had me running for the border. You called me your dream man. Now, first of all, y'all got to understand, we coming from two different areas of the spectrum. Up until this point, my last committed relationship pretty much went back to high school. So I've been pretty much exploring things. She been married. So it's just been different. But I saw, and the difference, I saw that she could teach me something and I could teach her something. And she said to me about being your dream man. Put mad pressure on me. But what did you mean by that? And what did you see in me to even come to that conclusion? Because that's a lot.
First of all, I used to write. And when I stressed out, I wrote things down. You know, I had my little diary or my journal or whatever I would write. And literally, I kind of put together a guy in my journal that I may one day, you know, wish to have. A whole bunch of qualities, you know, pros and cons. I'm gonna say most, but some women have, you know, that they want. And you basically literally reminded me of my father. My daddy was my everything. He embarrassed me sometimes. He got on my nerves. But, you know, most women, their daddy is their first love. And my daddy was my first love. And the more and more, when I first met you, it was more of, you know, he's a cute guy, you know, and I wanted to see what he was talking about and all that good stuff. But then as I got to know you more and more, I saw the qualities, things that I saw in you that you may not have saw, but I saw that I felt like I could be with. So, to be honest, I went back through my little journal.
Did you for real?
I did.
Wow.
And, you know, honestly, just started checking off things like, he got this, he got this, he got that. And that's his history.
She used analytics against.
I did.
And that's why listen. That's why I tell people, she might not say much, but my wife is one of the most passive, aggressive people I ever met. That's how she got me. And I ain't gonna lie, I used to entertain it a little bit because I was like, wow, yo, like, at first I'm like, is she playing on my intelligence? But then I'm like, yeah, she really serious about that, and she really. It didn't get to a point where, like I said, like, I'm getting uncomfortable because I'm feeling, or maybe she's feeling too much. I'm getting uncomfortable. I've never been in a situation before. I tried to leave her.
Definitely did.
You know what she said to me? I'm not leaving. What? You not what? I ain't gonna lie, it kind of turned me on. Because nobody ever said that to me. I'm like, oh my God, you not leaving? Ooh, I got to fight her. So now let's get to this point now. Because you already know. I knew I was dealing with a war inside of me. I'm dealing with my father's demons. I wasn't sure if I could really love a woman like I knew, like I believe I could love a woman. And at this point, the testing came. And I began to test you. Once I saw you was a fight, I began to test you. Because I knew the only way I could be better is if you be better. How was you able to deal with that, and why you didn't leave? Because you had every opportunity to actually leave. Because I was flirting with that line. Literally. Why?
To be honest, because I just knew I could handle it. You didn't push me to that point where I was ready to roll out. I got close, but I have I guess everybody can say everybody says a gift and a curse. The loyalty I have for people that I love. So, you know, like he said, we flirted with that line a few times. But something that was in me was just telling me that it's just something that he needs to deal with. It's just something that he needs to go through, and you are the woman that's going to be strong enough to hold on and allow him to get through it and be there when he picks himself up and help him get up.
That was a big thing. People don't understand that right there. That was actually huge for me. That, you know what I mean, I actually could find somebody that actually, and I had some beautiful women in the past, you know, prior to you. But to have somebody that I know for sure, like, nah, I see something that you don't even see in yourself. And you can honestly say, what we have now, you saw then. Mm-hmm. What was that song?
Teach Me.
No.
Oh,
that was my song.
That was your song.
Was the song that you used to play to me.
Oh, Alicia Keys. That's how strong our love is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, I ain't know anything about that. I knew love, but I didn't know how to actually show it. My mother wasn't the best affectionate person, but my mother showed love by her actions. You know what I mean? But my mother used to get uncomfortable even when you tried to hold her. So this is a female. That's what I was raised by. So now I'm a male growing up with already the stereotypes. Man, she don't understand. Listen, she almost pushed me away. I'm like, hold on, I don't need that much love. Yo, come on, chill. She had me really pressed. So with all of that, because you affectionate person though, and you wasn't even allowed, and I didn't even allow for you for a minute to really be affectionate like you really wanted to be. Mm-hmm. What helped you by going through that period when I wasn't giving you that part?
The beginning. I knew it was there. When we were girlfriend and boyfriend, the affection was there. And was probably more so because you just thought it was something that just was going to be for a minute and then it'd be over with. But I knew that you had it in you. So once you kind of pushed back and started getting your feelings, you started feeling your feelings, it scared you. So I'm like, okay, well, I know it's in him because I've seen it. So I'll just wait.
Patience.
Mm-hmm. I'm a very patient person. I'm going to tell you one thing about me. I know for sure. I am a very patient person. Even people tell me all the time, I'm too patient sometimes. And it can hurt. And in the end, if you wait just long enough, you'll get and see the wonderful things at the end. Because,
you know, like being an Aquarius, one of our traits is procrastination. It's a thin line between procrastination and patience. So sometimes you could, flirt with that line. But it had to come to a point when you had to really make a decision, like, yo, if I'm all in, because I definitely pushed you to make that decision, because I need to make sure that you was going to be there for me when I need you most, which is pretty much this time. And I think that's the big reason why I have a certain type of peace, because I was able to do that. Because a lot of people used to look at it, certain stuff I used to say to you or whatever the case is. They used to look at it like I was degrading you or whatever the case is. But they don't understand. I was building you for this time where we are right now. What'd you say about that? Because you're the one who went through it. I could be lying.
I mean, I had to figure out or understand a little bit. Because even though I wasn't married before or anything like that, it's different. It was totally different for me. So even though if sometimes it did feel like you were putting me down or, degrade me as people may think or say or whatever the case is, but in realization, I knew how you felt for me, the feelings that you had, and it wasn't, and the way you said it may have been a little hurtful, but it came from a good place. I had to learn that the things that you said may felt bad, but it was coming from a great place. And at one point I had to tell you, I had to let you know, like, sometimes when you stand up over me, remember I told you that? When you stand up over me, I feel like you're talking down on me. And your passion, even though you may not been being angry or mean or malicious, the passion makes you feel like he's putting me down. So, I actually had to speak out on that and say, look, I know that you love me and I know this, but this is how you're making me feel. So, once we talked about it and I realized, he's just passionate about it and he really wants me to get better and I want him to get better. So I'm okay with it. I'm all right. He's not calling me out of my name. He's not saying things that's untrue. He's just saying things that he wants to help. He just sometimes may not say it in the most pleasant way. But another trait from my dad.
Gotta learn.
My dad didn't speak things in the most pleasant way. He just said it, and it was hurtful sometimes. And I knew my daddy loved me to the ends of the earth, so I knew he wasn't doing anything to hurt me. It's just the way he said it just made you feel a little bad. But when you think about it, it was like, oh, okay, I get it. So.
Yeah. Because I always believed, like, even growing up, like, marriage wasn't the best model for me, but just getting understanding from past relationships, not my past relationships, but other people's relationships, I've realized that you gotta learn how a person needs to be loved in order to love them the way they want to. And I can honestly say this because it's actually through us. We at the point now being that we know how we need to love each other. So now we could want to love each other the way we want to love each other because we already put that work in. People don't know. The work came in even before we even said I do. People don't know a lot of work came into there. Because a lot of people would look at it. People don't understand, listen, I don't make any decision without talking to this woman first. So don't just look at me when I'm making my decisions. Yes, and I'm putting that out there. But what would you say? What would you say about that?
About what?
About me putting my vulnerability, because I put my vulnerability in your hands. That was a lot. How was you able to deal with my vulnerability being in your hands, knowing the type of person that I am? 1% strong person. That's a loose term.
I mean, I just have to be understanding. You know, I had to, I guess, put myself, like you always tell me, put myself in your shoes. But this time, it was more your feelings. So, you know, I'm already a very emotional person. So, you know, to take on your emotions, it didn't really bother me too much, honestly. You know, I always wanted to make sure that you're good, you're happy, that's, you know, that's my big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I always want to make sure that my family is good. I don't want them to feel sad or hurt. I put a lot of that on me. It's a lot of it I have to deal with. I have to learn to not take on so much. But at the time, it was just what was needed. And I was able to bear that. It's just something that I'm able to do. That's one of my great things about me, that I can take on a lot of people's feelings and still be good to go. You know what I mean? And still make sure that they okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, once they're good, I'm good. Because I know eventually it's going to be okay. You know, it's going to be okay. So if I can hold on to some of that, I'll take it. Yep.
Since the time we pretty much been together, even at the point that we are now, what have you learned individually about yourself during the time that we met and to the time at the moment, as far as yourself?
I learned that I do too much. I wouldn't say too much, but I'd say I do a lot. And then I don't take care of myself. So, you know, I've learned that I need to sometimes just step back and, you know, allow people to go through some things. And in order for me to take care of myself, to be healthy enough to make sure they continue to go on, I learned that I gotta just take care of me sometimes.
You got a passion for kids, don't you?
I love my children.
Them little bad good for nothing.
I love.
Can't even talk. She talk about them. I start talking about it. She start getting on me.
Yes, I love what you talk about my babies. I love my children. That's a passion of mine that it's been in me since I was a teenager. I love children. I have mine, but other people's children I just love the same. Once they walk into my presence, they don't even have to be in my classroom. They walk into my presence. They are my children. So, you know, don't get mad at me if I'm trying to hold them or skirt them and telling you doing something he like this. That's just in me. It's just something that God had given me that just allows me to be able to sense something about children. And he laughing at me sometimes, like it even before now, when we used to go out to restaurants and things of that sort.
Oh my God.
And I would see a baby out at 9-10 o'clock at night. I'm fussing like, what is going on? Why is the baby out?
But they can't find a babysitter.
I'm mad. Like, I'm mad. Why is the baby out at 9-10 o'clock at night? He's like, babe, they not your... Listen, they need a date night. They need to have the baby out this late. It's just no. So it's just something that's just been in me for longer than I can remember.
Okay. So you working on something now, but we'll keep that under wraps. Okay. What is your end goal though? Like, what is Takilla's Brereton's end goal?
What do you mean?
Your
like,
end goal.
What,
as far as
what I want to do?
Yes.
Oh, well, sure. My end goal is to be, honestly, sitting on somebody's beach with my feet up and chilling. And just calling my company and handing out checks. Make sure the payroll's good and my people's good. That's my end goal. And I'm in the works for that. So.
What company is that? What?
Miss Star's English Child Care.
You trying to have a center?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be centers everywhere.
What's gonna make your center different than the million of centers that's out there, though?
The quality of my center, and my center is gonna run like I want it to run, not like they want it to run. My center is gonna have embedded me in them, every last one of them.
Okay, what's me? I don't know what's me. What separate me from you and I and them and us?
The love that I have for the children that I care for, it's going to separate me from everyone else.
Well, I can't give you too much of my wife, but I pray that, you get a better understanding of her, because the more understanding you get for the ones around me, the more understanding you can have of me. And just watch this work. You got anything else to say about it?
No. By the way, it's apple juice in this class, just to let y'all know. It's not joke.
Yeah, that's a political correct answer right there. Brereton's out.
I bridge the gap for 'em. I bridge the gap for 'em. Hands up if you know you bridge the gap for 'em. I bridge the gap for 'em. I bridge the gap for 'em. Hands up if you know I bridge the gap for 'em.